Hello everybody and welcome to Bound by Force. And this is a new video in a show and tell series that Storm and I are going to be doing. Basically, we've been collecting Star Wars stuff for a long time, and we like to talk about some of our collection and show it off, and we figured what better way to do that than to do some sort of show and tell thing like it's in primary school again, which I used to love actually. So here is today's piece I would like to show to you all. This is a gift I got myself for my birthday, and it is Doug Chang's Legacy art book. It's actually two books if I flip it up. Bang. So Doug Chang, the Cinematic Legacy, and Doug Chang, the Star Wars Legacy. He's the Chief Creative Director, I think it is. I can't remember his exact title, but I've been a fan of his work and all of his art that he's created for Star Wars, but also his personal stuff for a very long time. He's inspired me personally to pursue the creative arts and get into miniatures and behind the scenes for films and stuff like that. So as soon as I saw this was available for pre-order, I had to pick it up. I think what I'm going to do in this video is I've labeled a couple of pages that I just think are really cool to show off, and I just kind of want to have a bit of a preview of the book in case you want to see what's inside it before you pick it up for yourself, but also just to show some of my sort of favorite pieces of art that are within these books. Here is Doug Chang's Cinematic Legacy. So this one is more where he started his home life, how he became an artist, and all the trials that he went through in that journey, because it wasn't easy and it was very difficult. As well as his Star Wars one here in particular, which I think is the one that most people who watch this channel would be interested in, but I still wanted to show this one off as well, just because I think it's important. So I made some sticky notes in here to try and go to some relevant pages. This one, which is just the first page of the book, but just seeing the N1 from Mando, like the sort of hot rod version, I just think this is such a cool picture, and to see Doug in the ship there. And then it gives you a very little preface by Doug, but my favorite thing is literally the first three words: art is hard. So beautiful little sentiment there. To some of these other pages I've got marked, which you can see here, this is covering his early life. So, you know, from him as a child and with his family, to his first sort of job or teenager, to his first sort of desk setup, to him working on the prequels. So now I've got some beautiful sketches that he's done here, as well as some of his ships. I just like seeing all of this stuff here, use the old school methods with him hand drawing every element and measuring it all out correctly. And this is what I like to see: starships. So here's him making a model kit of a starship, and then some of his first sort of crude ones that he did. He used to make a lot of short films, it seems, from the parts of the book that I've read so far, but it's a hefty tome. Just some beautiful concept art of this little record droid like this here. Highlighted this page for that exact reason, to showcase the coolness he's done with, you know, the hand here. I love this one, just so good. This is some footage here working on Terminator 2, I believe it was, with the liquid metal guy, the T-1000. But yeah, just seeing like the storyboards, you know, here, to then the actual painting out of the frames here, which they would have done earlier. And I believe Adam Savage, funnily enough, just did a video about this exact book where he got to interview Doug as well. So he has a lot better access than I do. But I'm pretty sure this was just hand painted through a very early version of Photoshop that John Knoll gave him, which is really cool. So I love his sci-fi vehicles. Something about ships with big wheels, or land vehicles with big wheels, that are just super cool. It's cool seeing what they imagined futuristic stuff would look like. Oh, I've missed a page that I've marked in here. Yep. Some of his nature drawings as well. So you can really start to see that he was such a prolific artist, but also drew inspiration and practiced so many different things, from his technical sci-fi drawings to these beautiful lifelike paintings. Now this is an interesting one too, like very sort of mixing of worlds. We've got the old traditional sail ships with robots with groceries, but all of the filigree on here too, very classical feeling. It's really nice. It's an interesting mashup, that's for sure. Something I never would have imagined. Some more gorgeous concept art. Okay, so here is the second book. This is the Star Wars Legacy, which I think most people who are interested in this channel are probably more interested in. But this is my personal favorite book as well. So the first page that I wanted to highlight was this one here, showing the archive, which I believe is the Lucasfilm archive, because we've got photos of like Sebulba's pod here, the second Death Star, there's a Yoda puppet, R2-D2 3PO from the Phantom Menace, the medical droid, Sice Noodles, just a lot of cool stuff here, and then a photo of Doug with the Falcon, and then his desk, or what looks like a desk setup of some sort here, which I just like seeing the Ralph McQuarrie picture he's got there. Then one of my other favorite shots that I really liked is seeing the miniature set here of the pod racing. Storm and I are both miniature painters, so anything to do with miniatures I'm really interested in, especially getting to see just how big these pods actually were and these sets. It would be such a fun job to get to work on this and paint and set all this stuff up. This page I thought was pretty interesting too, showing off some early concepts of the battle droids. So seeing here where they had like tiny other little arms on the sides that folded into the front of their chest, to how they folded up on their sort of backpack, and then to a more combat oriented version. And these ones here with sort of like shield plating or something like that. Maybe they shot guns out, bullets out here, but just another beautiful full art piece that I wanted to show off and highlight here. This is obviously Qui-Gon Jinn when he was cutting open the door. Trade Federation ship with Obi-Wan and that, and seeing the droid cars. But also just the concept art is nice to see how he painted the metallic effects on the droid cars here. Initial opening in the Phantom Menace, which I just think is really cool to see. All the greebles that he draws on these ships is just beautiful. And this one here, I thought this was just a beautiful full art piece as well. This is the Trade Federation's like droid ships that are landing on Naboo, I'm assuming. That's at least what it makes me think of when I see it, but just such an interesting design for the ships. Here we go, some more of my favorite stuff, some more miniature work. And I found it interesting that they've got a model airplane in this shot here that they must have been using for scale on the landing platform. So I thought that was kind of cool. And there's another one over here. So that's kind of them, I'm assuming, getting the scale and sizing correct for what they wanted their ships to actually be. But I like seeing the kit here of the Tamiya models. There's a little digger down there as well. So just cool seeing all these actual real things that they would use in Star Wars to especially scale stuff correctly, or try to get it in the correct scale. Let's flip through. Well, here's a beautiful piece of art too. That's Qui-Gon, obviously with Jar Jar, before he looked anything like Jar Jar. Another beautiful full art piece. Yeah, it's interesting seeing where the Gungans were originally looking before they kind of settled on their design for them. Next page, this is another, just a full art piece that I really like. Anytime I see someone paint chrome well, it's always very interesting and appealing to look at, and I thought this was just a beautiful example of that. Just so clean and well done. And then here, this is my favorite art piece from the book, but also the cover of the book that you can get, the Naboo Starfighter. I would love to get this as a print. That would be beautiful to have. But yeah, just seeing this is gorgeous. The yellow with the pinky sort of peachy clouds in the background there. And then here's just some concept art from the Phantom Menace. This is Theed, the Naboo city. Along with, this is meant to be Viceroy, or Newt Gunray I should say, not his title. But yeah, with some battle droids. So an early concept version of what Viceroy, no, Nemoidian, that's it. Yeah, an early concept of what the Nemoidians would have looked like, which is pretty cool to see. Here we go. Yeah, I wanted to show this because this was seen theed in all of its full beauty with these like matte paintings here, which I believe you see this one in a shot of the movie quite a lot, and same with this one here at night. But then you've got the full concept sort of grey rendered drawing here, and then some concept art of what they wanted Jar Jar to look like in the early days, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, I remember they said aquatic.
Yeah.
With a beak.
Yeah, and this is definitely aquatic with a beak, but it looks. Yeah, it was platypus inspired, I believe. Yeah. And then here's some beautiful full art stuff. A lot of the feathers and stuff. So it's cool seeing where they came from. I love these ones though here with these giant heads, which I don't actually know if they've ever talked about. I have to look that up, but what the heads were from, because they're on Naboo obviously where the Gungans are, but they're buried around a lot. So I want to know what the statues represent from an ancient time or something. Yeah, here was another piece. Like this is, you see this in the shot with Boss Nass standing on top of one of these heads talking to Queen Amidala and her handmaidens and that, but they're on some ancient ruins of some sort, so I'd love to know what they actually were. Yeah, and I just thought this was a cool piece of art that I would like to have framed, because the fish looks incredible here too. And then this was just some more droid sketches and stuff. Here looks like the droid holding like a big ship engine, but I like this main one here, like a little market stall in like Tatooine. That was my personal favorite one, and also just for inspiration for later for me. Okay, sorry, the dog interrupted. Here is some cool concept art of Watto's junk shop, and some concept art of him with like a tumor looking head. I've always loved Watto as a character. For whatever reason, as a kid, I got a little toy of him, and it was my favorite color. It's hard to describe, but I really liked Watto for whatever reason. I don't know why. Now, this is some cool concept art here. This one of like a dude on an Eopie pulling what looks to be like, it could be a pod racer engine or a ship engine through the desert. I really like this one. Now, here's a good piece of art. Storm, you'd want this one in the house. Yeah. It's just early version of Anakin's pod, it looks like, just flying through the race course with some other unfortunate pod exploding behind him. Yeah. And I just thought this was a cool piece of mole art with him and his scimitar ship in the background. Here we go. This was just some more concept art of the Jedi chamber here. It looks like with the council sit and meet. So I thought these were really, really cool to see as well. Where are we? Okay, yeah. I highlighted this page because this is Zam's speeder in the beginning of episode 2, and this speeder's iconic because it goes yeah. Yeah, and I'll remember it forever because of the sound it made, and I'd never heard another spaceship or anything make a sound like that ever. I thought this was cool because this ship here looks like he's going through some design phases here for various cruises and stuff, but this one in particular is very close to what we see Ahsoka flying around in the Ahsoka series. So I thought that was, and the Clone Wars, so I thought that was, or Rebels I believe it is, yeah, Rebels. I believe it's very close to that, so this is cool that he probably went back to this concept and thought, oh, okay, we can make this work, so you can kind of see the evolution here. So I thought that was just a cool little nod. This I love because it's got Jango Fett's fire spray coming to Kamino, which this is just a sick version of this art, so I love seeing that. And then obviously some more art here of Jango and Boba with Obi, which is my favorite scene in all of Attack of the Clones. So there's some beautiful concept art of this is just super cool. But this is my favorite piece of art in the whole book, and it's an early concept of Jango here, which is just like Boba Fett, but just looks so good. Just to give you a bit of a look of what you can expect if you were to pick this book up for yourself, because it's gorgeous. Well, both of them are. And if you're into the behind the scenes of especially Star Wars, but film in general, there's some great stuff you can see. So now we're in the Force Awakens era, where you can see this is the Jakku Star Destroyer ship, which I think is so cool. And it's interesting noting how the concept art techniques changed. This would have a lot of 3D, I imagine, in it, and a lot more computer kit bashing stuff. Here is some of the cool Galaxy's Edge looking stuff, so the concept art for what they wanted to have there. I like all these sort of ships that they had docked at the tops of the buildings, and then, you know, just this. The only reason I want to go there in real life one day is to take photographs like this, where it is like it's just Star Wars, if that makes sense. You can't see anything else, but the building makes you think and feel you're in that world, so that's just kind of really cool. This piece here, just some beautiful sand crawlers, very classic, but a bit more modernized here, so it's kind of cool to see a newer take on them. Here you go, some beautiful shots of the Falcon. This is definitely some episode 8 concept art. We've got Rey standing here, pulling it out from the ice, so doing the old Empire Luke technique. Here we go, where he's done, this is a more up-to-date version of where he's done some work on the Mandalorian. There he is on the Rancor's head right in it, how Boba Fett would, which is kind of cool. I saved this page here because I love seeing other creative people's desks and how their desk setup is, with like what, you know, monitors do they use, everything like that. I'm just a nerd for that kind of stuff, so getting to see a little glimpse of his desk here. You can see a clone trooper in the background there. It's just cool. And this is the kind of thing that I like to geek out and look at. Also, this one here, a concept art of the Mando with Grogu. I love this. I would just get that grayscale drawing framed as well in my house. And there's Jon Favreau as Paz. Rest in peace.
Oh, the king.
And here's another page that I saved purely for me because of the desk setup again, where I like to see what other artists use or have. So it's just, I love seeing his little Star Wars toys off to the side there. And then I thought this was cool, seeing early concept art of Grogu maquettes, where he looked just like a massive goober. He looks like a 50-year-old there, opposed to being the young version of him. And then here's the TIE fighter with the wings folded down again, seeing how they used it in The Mandalorian. But I love this shot of Doug in front of the N1. Like, that just looks so cool. And it's on the volume too, to get that beautiful landscape. All these books showcasing Doug Chang's cinematic legacy. So if you are interested in Star Wars and film in general and behind the scenes, I highly recommend picking these up. They're beautiful to have to the collection, and it's a really good way to support these artists like Doug, who not necessarily are on the big screen and get a lot of the, you know, praise, because without them we wouldn't have these beautiful worlds that we all love, or the aesthetics that we love from these this galaxy far, far away. So anyway, thank you for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video. May the Force be with you.